Welcome, everyone. We're going to call, oh, I'm sorry, I thought you said you were ready.
Okay, now I am.
All right, one more time. Welcome, everyone, to our public hearing on the rifle ordinance. We're reopening our meeting from this morning. We've been in recess. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our Administrator, Andrew Letson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, the purpose of our meeting today, as everyone in the room knows, is to consider a conversation about deer hunting regulations. Back in 1942, the state of Minnesota began to restrict the types of firearms that people could use to hunt deer, and that created the so-called shotgun zone, which Meeker County was a part of. Last year, the legislature repealed the shotgun zone, but created a new statute that allows counties to adopt limitations to the use of firearms during the hunting season that were included in that former legislation that was repealed. On January 6th, you all, the county board, scheduled tonight's public hearing to solicit feedback from the community on whether to adopt those limitations. So this map here demonstrates the general location of the shotgun zone. This is from DNR's 2025 deer season map. The orangish line that you see on the screen is the boundary between the shotgun zone and the non-shotgun zone, the rifle zone. And Meeker County, of course, falls within that. So that language that was in statute and is in the draft ordinance, which was in the packet tonight, states that during the regular firearm deer hunting season in the shotgun use area, only legal shotguns loaded with single slug shotgun cells, legal muzzle loaded long guns, and legal handguns may be used for taking deer. Legal shotguns include those with rifled barrels. So that was the language that was in statute before. The options that the county board has are to adopt an ordinance which creates those limitations within Meeker County. And if it does so, to notify the DNR by May 1st, and then that information would be included in the 2026 guidebook. But that ordinance could then be appealed at any time. The other option would be if the county board desires to allow rifles for deer hunting, it doesn't have to take any action whatsoever, but a motion confirming that choice would be preferred so that the community knows this is the action the county board is taking. But then limitations could be adopted by an ordinance at a future date. So what are other counties doing? There are 58 counties that at least part of the county was included within the shotgun zone. Of those, 8 have decided to allow rifles, which include Chippewa, Lackaparle, Lion, Martin, Ottertail, Todd, and Yellow Medicine. 2 have adopted or plan to adopt ordinances that continue with the shotgun zone regulations, and those are Pope and Rock. And then a number over here on the right, including all of our neighbors, have not yet made a decision or have a public meeting that is pending coming up here in the next month or so. There's a lot of them that are scheduled for March. So our options tonight are the county board, if it chooses to act, could maintain the previous shotgun zone firearm limitations by adopting the draft ordinance, which was included in the packet, could adopt a motion to allow the use of rifles for deer hunting, or table the discussion and make a decision at a future meeting. So you don't have to make a decision tonight. You could use tonight to hear comments from the public, but you have the option to make a final decision if you choose to. So at this time, we would turn it over to the public hearing. I would look for a motion to open the public hearing, but when we do so, what we're going to ask is those who are coming to speak, please identify yourself and the part of the community where you reside. Limit your comments to 3 minutes. We do have a lot of folks who have signed up to speak tonight, so we'll be running a timer to kind of make sure that we all can stay within that. Refrain from repeating previous stated comments when possible, and refrain from outbursts, interrupting others, or making defamatory or abusive remarks. The board chair does reserve the right to terminate a speaker's time if they persist with any improper conduct of their remarks. So with that, we'll be looking to open it up.
Chair Oberg, I would make a motion to open public meeting.
We have a motion by Commissioner Johnson to open the public hearing. Do I have a second?
I'll second that, Madam Chair.
Second by Commander. You were Commander, weren't you?
Yeah, I've done that.
Commissioner Schmidt, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So we'll start the public hearing. I'm gonna call the names, and as I call you, you can come up and speak. So the first one is Bruce Mumford,
And we'd like you to sit in the chair here.
and make sure you speak into the mic.
Right.
Because we are recording this, so.
Well, and do they, like, we should be speaking in our mics pretty good too, so they can hear us over there. Sure, we're practice what we preach here.
Yes, Commander.
Yes, Commander.
That one would be sticking with you.
Yeah.
I don't need to push the button?
No, it is on.
It's on, okay. Well, is a DNR here?
No.
Nobody from DNR is here.
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, I guess I only got a few words. I don't think we need it. We don't need rifles out in, I'm from Forest City, by the way. And, even at night there's shooting, so, you know, it's pretty wild west out where I live, so. I don't wanna see rifles out there with 40, you know, a clip of 40 shells. I mean, we just don't need it. I got relatives that live out that way, and one of the aunts asked if I'd come and speak for her, and I says, yeah, I can. She lives on Crow River, the river basement. Her name is Donna Keel, and Donna, she has hunters down there all the time, and she says, gosh, I don't want to have somebody down there with a rifle and shooting through my house. And I says, well, that's why I'm here. And I know you're gonna have people die. I don't care what you say. That's my opinion, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you.
Next, we have Jake Barnes.
I have a couple of maps that I'm gonna give to each of the commissioners here. So this map is, very similar to the map that.
Thanks,
Andrew
Jake.
showed here, and I did a little arts and crafts here. I'm gonna give that one to Andrew. And
Thank
we
you.
can pass that one down, and that'll kind of reference what I'm gonna go into here. So good evening, commissioners. My name is Jake Barnes. I live in Litchfield. My family's been in Meeker County for the last 5 generations. I shot my first deer in 1994, not 2 miles from this place that we're sitting at right now, using Doug Thornquist's gun, which is only about half a mile from where Van Ort lives. So as was stated earlier, in 1948, Minnesota Shotgun Zone was designed as a tool to manage the deer populations in the southern portion of the state. The deer numbers were so bad at that time that seasons were occasionally closed entirely statewide due to low state herd numbers. The Minnesota DNR uses shotguns, limited range and slightly less accuracy as a management tool 84 years ago to allow the deer population to rebound. If you guys take a look at that map, Meeker County actually sits in 5 different deer management zones in the state of Minnesota. So going against SF 107 that was passed at the state level, which would basically dissolve the shotgun zone, is gonna be creating actually different zones within these hunting zones. So if Meeker County decides to stay as a shotgun zone and other counties around us decide to allow rifle hunting in their zones, that's gonna make enforcement for not only the DNR, but also for the sheriff's department, potentially more difficult to enforce. Any game and fish violations actually end up at the county attorney level, so that if there are any enforcement issues that need to actually go to court, then that falls on the county attorney. There's no court for DNR violations at the state level. Some of you may and some of you may not know, but rifle calibers are already currently legal in all of Minnesota in a pistol configuration. There's no laws regarding what weapons can or cannot be used for shooting varmints in the state of Minnesota. So anyone can go out at any time of the year, take any gun that they want out of their case and go out and shoot a coyote that's running across their backfield. There's nothing that says that they can't. Not only that, but it's not even required to have a firearm safety certificate to do that, or even a hunting license to do that. As far as the ordinance is, landowners can still exercise their rights and allow shotgun only use on their property. I actually spoke with the local conservation officer, Nick Clare, and he said to me that they were instructed that, to not attend these county meetings because they didn't want to have any outside influence from the state or from the DNR.
Thank you, that is 3 minutes.
Pardon?
That is 3 minutes, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jake.
Thank you.
Fred Johnson.
Hello, I'm Fred Johnson, I live in Manana Township. Our family's been there for, well, we raised the fourth generation on the place. I'm also a youth, safety instructor through the state of Minnesota, trap team coach. I personally feel there's not gonna be an issue with safety. I guess I'm pretty positive on the rifle zone. Sure be nice to change that after all these years. I've hunted all over and never had any issues with rifles, with, you know, any close shots. I live right next to US Fish and Wildlife, and we've never had a problem. So, I think it's positive. I think it's a good change. You know, I own my grandfather's rifle. It'd sure be fun to shoot a deer with that on the place that he bought and he farmed. And maybe my kids too, because it's a family thing. You know, both my kids hunt with me, and we enjoy it. And being the accuracy of a rifle is much better. It's gonna be a cleaner shot on the deer. I think it's all positive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fred.
Jim Watt.
Good evening. I'm Jim Watt. I'm from Litchfield. Sadly, I was doing the math tonight. I've been deer hunting for 48 years. So I started hunting when I was 12. I had some statistics that a lot of the guys that were up here kind of said, and they went over what the law originally was. 84 years ago, that law went into effect. The technology has changed dramatically. There's sabot slugs on the market now that are 3,000 feet per second. That's equivalent to a high-powered rifle. The standard sabot slugs now are maybe 2,000, 2,200. That's like a 30-30 rifle. So the technology has changed. In the state of Minnesota, since 2010, there's only been 2 instances of someone shooting a building while hunting, and that were reported. And one of those was a deer hunter with a slug, and the other one was a duck hunter. And in Meeker County, you know, we talk about the population. That's what that original law was there was no deer. Population has increased. The hunting numbers have decreased since 2020. The licensed hunters are down a third in the state of Minnesota. So we have less hunters now than we used to. I think probably all the guys in this room would agree if they hunt around here, nobody does deer drives anymore. Very rarely. Hunting here for years and years, and everybody used to do that, and very few people do it now. So the hunting patterns have changed. In Meeker County, the car versus deer accidents, you know, this is a population management tool is the hunting season. In 2020, we had 49 car versus deer in Meeker County. Trended upwards every year until 2025 last year there was 135 car versus deer. Tree stands, 85% of hunters in Minnesota hunt out of a tree stand. So they've always, the urban legend and the myth was that the bullet was traveling too far. Most hunters are shooting down around here. Almost everyone hunts out of a stand. So like the gentleman said earlier, I have a rifle from my grandfather, would love to shoot a deer with it, but I hunt around here, so And either way, I'll still go hunting. I think everybody in the room probably loves deer hunting as much as I do, so. That's all.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Jim,
Jerry Rambo?
Good evening, Jerry Rambo, Meeker County resident, south of town here, Litchfield Township, since 1988. I sent each of you, and it was posted on the webpage, letters, and, you know, hopefully you had a chance to review that. So at this time, I'd just like to take the opportunity to speak about this potential change in Meeker County to the shotgun zone. Tonight, I'd like to just summarize some of that email that I shared before. I think it's primarily a safety factor. For me, I don't think there's any debate that a rifle bullet is going to travel substantially further than a shotgun slug. And in the email I sent, I had supporting ballistic tables there that supported that. I feel that the focus of the county commissioners should be more of a safety concern, not just for residents, but maybe even other hunters. Most of the guys here are you know, probably really solid, take deer hunting seriously. There's gonna be a wide fan of us hunting out there. And the chances of that, those bullets, comparing a shotgun slug to a rifle slug, a 270 is what I used in my ballistic charts there, is gonna carry substantially further, the rifle. And that could have the same effect of other hunters in the area, and also certainly residents alongside, neighboring residents alongside the hunting area. I believe that the county commissioner's job should not center on what the deer population is or was or why we had it initially. I think it should be more of a safety concern and the protection of residents within the county. Certainly a decision will be made, but I'm a believer that, you know, if you're gonna make change when change is needed. So what is the good reason for proposing a change in Meeker County that doesn't outweigh the safety concerns of some of us? And was the Meeker County shotgun season problematic in the past? All of us here have used shotgun in the past. And we have had successful hunts.
Thank you. That's been 3 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
thanks.
Art Giske, I hope I'm not murdering that too
Giske?
badly.
Yeah,
Giske,
Geeski.
you know.
I don't have notes. I didn't do a whole lot of research. I'm just gonna put my thoughts out there. I live right here in Litchfield. I'm retired. I've been deer hunting since I was 18, which is, I don't know how many years that is, quite a few. Grew up southern Minnesota where we hunted deers with shotguns and pickups. We ran, we chased, because there's nothing there but fields. And that's why I can see Martin County went rifle. They have a huge population that are ruining crops, and their roadkills is terrible. I could see that, but up here, anybody with a good grain of salt can kill a deer with a shotgun or a muzzle loader. And the other thing I wanted to say was, when I farmed in Wisconsin for 11 years, 3 people I know were shot with rifles from anywhere from 800 to 1,400 yards. One was our family doctor. He was going on the highway 55 miles an hour and he was shot and killed. Another one was a good friend of mine that worked for me, who was standing out in the middle of the field, got shot in the hip. He lived. And another guy got shot through the tailgate, the front bumper, or all the way through the truck bed and hit this guy in the cab through the back. And they were all considered accidents. And they were, because nobody's going to shoot somebody on purpose if you're deer hunting. But they're 1,400 yards away and you couldn't see. And it's very, not trees like we had in Wisconsin. I would prefer to use a rifle. I wouldn't have to run around like it, I can't run anymore. I can just sit there and shoot one, call for somebody to get it. But I think for a safety issue, I think we should stay with the shotgun and muzzle loaders because one gentleman said they're programmed different. I mean, I don't have a problem shooting the deer and other areas, it's a muzzle loader. I think it is a safety issue. And I would hate to see all of a sudden people getting shot down here. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Art.
Thank you.
Dan Bramseth.
Good evening. My name is Dan Bremseth. I live in Litchfield here in town. I hunt north of town. We have 80 acres on the river bottom. And this year alone, for an example, opening day, there was 32 deer that walked right by my cousin, but it was just outside of shotgun range. Granted, it's a little more heavier wooded. It's like my brother's place up in Hinckley. His is a rifle zone up there, and he has no problem using a rifle there. I come from a long generational attribute of hunters, and it used to be a 2-day and a 4-day season. You had to pick which one you wanted to hunt. We'd hunt the 4-day season, and as was speak before, we drove deer like constantly. Had to be out kicking spots, be able to kick a deer up to be able to fill the freezer for the winter. Nowadays, with 9 days that we have that is offered, the deer aren't moving anymore. We have to wait for them to move on their own. People are not moving them anymore. I actually go and hunt with my buddy from time to time. He has 16 people in their party at one time, and to try to fill all their freezers and help them out when we party hunted. But now, because we've gone to that 9-day, a lot of landowners have said no, they've kept their piece of property to themselves to where the 2-day and the 4-day split, you could hunt the folks who hunted the first 2-day, the 4-day, and now you can't anymore. And that's fine, that's their land, that's their choice. I am a firearm safety instructor also. I'm for the rifle, in all honesty. I'm all for it. I hunt over Big Cattail Slough also. They're everything, it's always just outside of my comfortable range with a shotgun. That's my personal opinion, so. I'm totally for this. There's plenty of deer in Meeker County. There's plenty of safety folks. I just ask that you try it for 1 year, because I believe you can reiterate this every year was, I believe is the statute. So that's all I have for you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Dan.
Thank you.
Thanks.
John is this, I have a little trouble with the writing here. Marley, M-A-R-L.
Miley.
Miley?
M-A-I-L-E.
I'm sorry.
Good evening, Madam Chair, council members. John Miley, Eden Valley. I looked over your ordinance with some detail, and some things came to my attention that I have some concerns with. You have 3 bullet points in there. You had promote health, safety, welfare, and residents. I don't understand why how that fits. To mitigate incidents of potential trespass by discharge of firearms. So I'm reading your ordinance as firearms, doesn't single out either of them. But the one that I am greatly concerned about that I think is likely legally challenging is preserve the ability to responsibly manage deer populations in Meeker County. A question for you is, does Meeker County have management authority of deer populations? No, I don't. Is Meeker County currently managing deer populations? Because Minnesota deer management is governed by the state statutes, chapters 97A and 97B, delegating authority to the Department of Natural Resources to manage, protect, and regulate the harvesting of white-tailed deer. So according to your ordinance that's drafted, there is a legal issue there. So, because it would say preserve, and I'm interpreting as preserve means to retain the right, is the definition of preserve. So I wanted to move on, and I know there was already a reference to Wisconsin, and I just wanted to read, as a reached out to Wisconsin DNR, and I want to quote this. Jeff Prinzel, who is a big game coordinator of Wisconsin, from the Wisconsin DNR, quote, Wisconsin went through this about 10 years ago. The same concerns were expressed and addressed. Wisconsin went through the same process with some towns, counties right after the change. 10 years later, it's a non-issue. The accident rate continues to decline. No upticks in accidents in the new rifle area. Wisconsin used to be shotgun only south of Highway 29, so basically the southern half of the state. There were likely 350 to 400,000 hunters in that area at the time of the change. Hopefully our experience can help Minnesota become comfortable with the change quickly. 2 years into that change, it stopped being a topic of conversation. Of course, there were also hunters that felt rifles would result in over-harvesting of deer, and that didn't happen either. Commissioners, I feel there is no reason to adopt the ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Ryan Rothstein?
My name's Ryan Rothstein. I'm from Richmond, Minnesota, so I'm probably the odd man out here in that I don't live here, but I do hunt here, and that's why I'm here this evening. And something that I just can't shake about the arguments for adopting this resolution is that you hear safety, we're afraid, safety, people are gonna get hurt. What evidence is being provided that that will be the case? I like to live in reality where we are governed by data, long-term data sets, trends, and actual numbers. So these are actual numbers that are publicly available from our own state and from a neighboring state. So in the state of Minnesota over the last 20 years, you are 34% more likely to be involved in a firearms accident if you are using a shotgun than a rifle. And this is publicly available. Go look for yourself. The odds of you being in a firearms incident during deer season are 1 in 79,450. The odds of you being struck by lightning are 1 in 15,300. The odds of you getting in a car accident any day of the week driving to work are 1 in 95. Wisconsin removed their shotgun zone in 2013. That year, they had 9 firearms-related hunting incidents. In 2025, they had 2, over 10 years after repealing their shotgun zone. They also sold 550,611 firearms deer licenses that year. In Minnesota last year, we sold 382,720. County commissions may choose for me how I can hunt on publicly owned land that anyone across the nation theoretically should be able to come and hunt as long as they purchased a hunting license. And very lastly, I cannot help but note the irony, apart from the lack of data being brought forth by those that are against rifles, I would bet many people in this room claim to be supporters of the Second Amendment, and many of them are probably, I bet all of them own a firearm, and yet they are here actively campaigning against my right to use a certain type of firearm.
And I have owned land and hunted deer in Meeker County with my 5 sons for 30 years. I'd like to just make 2 points this evening. One is related to safety and the other is a practical matter. So intuitively, it would seem that a high-powered cartridge that travels farther and faster must be more dangerous. I completely understand that logic. That just is a logical conclusion. But the data in Minnesota and across the country just does not bear that out. In the country that we live in, all 50 states allow firearms deer hunting. All 50 states allow deer hunt use. So if you look at, Minnesota legislature going down the road of answering this question, and the question really is, does allowing rifle hunting increase the risk of deer hunting? Deer hunting risk will never be zero, and any injury or fatality is a tragedy, of course. But again, does the use of rifles increase the risk? So again, there are only 3.5 states that have not gone that route. And I would specifically point out the state of California has a population density that is 3.5 times the state of Minnesota per square mile. 3.5 times the population density. They allow deer hunting anywhere within their normal seasons with a high-powered rifle with no restrictions on that cartridge. You could use a 30-06, you could use a 300 Winchester Magnum to hunt deer if you wanted to in California. With all of the regulations, the gun restrictions in California, they allow that. And there is no state that I'm aware of that has gone to rifle hunting, found it to be unsafe, and then transitioned back to shotguns. My second point is related to a practical matter. Since about 2020, I would say that the availability of shotgun ammunition has been difficult at best. The Sabbath slugs are, I would say, the most accurate. And just for fun this evening, I drove by and stopped in at Runnings in Litchfield. There was not a single box of 12 or 20 gauge Sabbats on the shelf at Runnings. And Shields and other local gun stores, good luck trying to find ammunition. I don't know how you expect us to go deer hunting if you can't buy bullets. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith.
Thank
you.
Ray Nagel.
Hi, I'm Ray Nagel. I live here in Litchfield, and I've been hunting for years, and I see points on both sides, but I still think it's a safety thing. I'm an engineer, and you can change data to make it sound any way you want. Somebody said 85% of people in Minnesota hunting tree stands. Well, is that up north, or is that an average across the whole state? Because in southern Minnesota, there isn't that many woods to sit and stand. And then, I think he also said something about injuries with a shotgun. Is that deer hunting shotgun? Is that with a slug, or is that with a pheasants? Or, so data can be changed. I think it is a safety issue. And another reason, is why do we need to change? Most of the deer I shoot are within 50 yards. I sight in at 50 yards because most of the deer I see are that close when you're hunting in woods or sitting in a tree stand. And I hunt, like Bruce said, I hunt over by Forest City next to Donakeel. And in the river bottom, they're blasting away. It sounds like an army. And I hunt in the woods up on top. And I don't want bullets flying around me. Data maybe doesn't lie, but I don't see a need for it. And I'm also worried about poachers, because I had people, even with a shotgun, try and stop and get out and shoot a deer, but it was too close and they seen me, so they took off. But what if they're shooting one long way away? And you might have injured deer too, because people are gonna say, oh, I can hunt with a rifle now, so I can shoot 400 yards away, and then they're wounded deer. I think there's just a lot of issues we're not sure of right now, and it seems to be working. I mean, I got 2 deer this year. I get deer every year with a shotgun. I've shot deer, like somebody else was saying, the Sabbath slugs, or the technology is so much better. Again, why do we need a rifle if you can shoot 200 yards with a Sabbath slug? And now they got crossbows. A lot of people are shooting with crossbows. That's gonna take away a lot from the rifle hunters and the slug hunters anyways, because a lot of people are liking that. So I just don't think it's necessary right now. I think things can stay the way they are, but. And I had a lot of friends too. I called friends that couldn't make it here today, and I could give you their names if necessary, but same thing. Safety, the number one issue, poaching, another issue, and injured deer. So that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you, Ray.
Thanks.
Pat Finnegan.
My name is Pat Finnegan. I live in Harvey Township. I own and operate a gun shop. I also have a shooting range on my farm. It's open to the public. You can buy a membership to shoot there. I put on permit to carry classes. And my range targets are made up of plywood. They're 4x4 sheet of plywood. The target is on that piece of plywood is 18 inches square. At 25 feet, my range to start off at, their middle target hold my targets out, and they're pieces of metal that holds them. There's more holes in the outside range than what's in the target. At 50 yards, same thing. And 100 on that is tremendous. It's just all shot up. The targets don't get hit very bad. People just don't sight their guns in. The same thing's gonna happen on out. I'm against this rifle thing. People gotta get out there and be able to shoot these guns accurately, not just open up with them. I served in the US military in Vietnam. I was a sniper, and I know how to handle a gun. At 500 yards open sight, I can shoot a deer on a rifle. I can step out of my house and look 2 miles away south. I can see cars running on the road. That bullet from a 30-06 will reach that car. I can take the water shower off my house with no problem here in Litchfield. So I can go east, I can see the cars on the road. It's very dangerous. There's people out there that don't know how to handle a gun, and they're gonna be hunting. I don't like that idea. I don't like to get shot, but you gotta think about this. Get rid of those rifles. You don't need them. The guy ahead of us pretty well said the same thing. You shoot deer at 50 yards. No, you don't need a rifle. That's my question about it, and I think probably vote no on this thing. Keep it out of here. Let's see what the counties around us do. If they all get in, probably we have to get in, but I don't think we need it in Meeker County.
Thank you, Pat.
Thanks, Pat.
Rick Anderson?
Could be other
Rick
room, yes.
Anderson.
Could be other room.
What's that?
Could be in the other room.
Come in.
Oh,
Come in.
here he comes, sorry. I don't know about that.
Rick Anderson, I'm a resident of Hutchinson, but a landowner in Danielson Township, Meeker County. Avid deer hunter, I've hunted since I've been a kid. I am opposed to going to the rifle season. I think safety, as it's been addressed here, is a huge issue. One thing that has not been brought up by anyone here tonight is I feel there are a number of hunters, if you want to call them that go deer hunting. It's probably the only time the whole year that they get a firearm in their hands. And as previous people have mentioned, using a rifle, if it's not sighted in, deer travel in low light typically. Now there's a deer out there at 400 yards. Oh, I'm gonna take a shot at that deer. Not giving any consideration to what's beyond the target. So safety is a huge, huge factor, I believe. Another point I'd like to make is, to me, and I'd like to think the majority of hunters, hunting is about getting close to the game, doing your homework. You don't need to shoot an animal. To me, there's no gratification in shooting an animal at 300 yards or beyond. I mean, get close, do your homework, scout, know where the deer travel. You can shoot a deer at 25 yards or less if you've done your homework. So that's all I have to say. Keep it shotgun.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Pat Fink? Go ahead. Hi, Pat.
Chair, Board, members of the commission. Thank you for your time. I think it's all been, and we kind of beating a dead horse with the safety and concerns. I'm obviously Pat Fank from Meeker County, Minnesota, Sweet Grove Township. I've been an avid deer hunter my entire life. A couple things. It was mentioned safety. This was never supposed to be a safety concern in the first place. It's been mentioned the long range. I'm also a precision shooter, do a lot of precision shooting. I don't think people realize that 1,200 yards, the average bullet drops. You have to aim 50 feet above a deer in order to hit the deer at 1,000 yards. So most people are not shooting 50 feet above a deer. The other thing is, was mentioned earlier, the confusion of the zones. I know it was mentioned earlier again, but I'm gonna mention again, is the zones, there's several counties within a certain zone. The confusion of trying to enforce and educate, and people that are in one county traveling to another county and just trying to educate the public, it's gonna cause confusion. The other thing is, government entities making more laws to enforce more laws. To me, I'm not into little governments making more laws to try to enforce. The problem with that is the DNR is already in charge of this. Conservation, they've already made the rules, they've already done the homework. I say you let them do their job, let them take the heat for this. If it doesn't work out, obviously all the other states have already tried it. The DNR did their homework already. We let them try to do it. And I just say we allow it and let nature take its course and not try to regulate what DNR is already trying to do.
Thank you, Pat.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Eric Quast?
So I'm Eric Quast. I own a property over in Dassel. And, I hear a lot about safety again. Big thing is everybody's shooting from a stand facing down, like Pat just said, you know, you have to aim 50 feet above a deer at 1,000 yards. You know, earlier I heard you can shoot a gun and it'll go 2 miles. I mean, if you do the math on it, it's a heck of a lot longer than 1,000 yards. So you're aiming, what, 200 feet above a deer? I mean, it's not happening. Anybody in here wouldn't do that. Same thing, I mean, it's a hunter's responsibility, and people go coyote hunting, they don't have to go through firearms safety. And, it's just, you have people out there at night with thermals, hunting out, doing anything what they want with a rifle. Then you have responsible people hunting deer, buying a license, going out, doing the right thing. I just don't see the safety issue. In my case, I cross the road, I'm in a different hunting zone from mine. I go over to my parents' place, which is 2 miles away from me, I'm in a different hunting zone. How do I manage that, you know? So, there's that, and the other part is just, you know, about 15, 20 years ago, my father bought me a 30-06. I sold that last year. Never got to shoot a deer with it. We used to hunt Brainerd. And I'd sure like to go and get my rifle back and be able to finally shoot a deer with my old rifle, you know. Just comes down to, I don't see the data there. Like, a lot of people are talking about their feelings on the side of not wanting it, right? But where's the data to back it up? A lot of people coming up here right now talking about just not going with the ordinance. They're coming up here with sheets of data. Like, here's the facts of it. And I don't understand how 46 other states figure this out. Half of our state can figure this out, but us down here can't. Like, to me, it just, I don't see the need for it. I think we should try it. If there's an uptick, sure, revisit it, but I don't see the government approaching on my right as a citizen to infringe on my Second Amendment to do what I need to do to provide for my family. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Colton Fank.
Hello, my name is Colton Fank, and I'm from Swede Grove. I've been a hunter ever since I could, and like said previously about the DNR rule back in 1942, is it was never a safety concern. And with the new law that's being proposed here, over 50% so far have said rifle zone is fine, which doesn't make sense to me to make a law or a rule about having a shotgun zone when over 50% has said rifle zone is fine. Another thing is, hunters that are unsafe out there aren't gonna be safe with a rifle or with a shotgun. So if you give an unsafe hunter a rifle and they shoot at a deer far away, well, they're probably gonna do have a shotgun anyway, but with less accuracy. So just going back to shotgun zone doesn't seem like the smart thing to do. And I think we should try out the rifle zone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Nate Soggy.
He's next door, for sure. There he is.
And he found us.
Evening, Madam Chair and Commissioners.
Good evening.
My name is Nate Sogi. I live in Eden Valley. I am here representing the Eden Valley Sportsman's Club. So I have a letter to read. So on behalf of the Eden Valley Sportsman's Club, we respectfully submit this letter to express our concern regarding the proposed ordinance to restrict deer hunting to slug only within Meeker County. Our organization is deeply committed to safe, responsible firearm use and education. For more than 50 years, our club has provided youth firearms training, emphasizing safety, accountability, ethical decision-making, and respect for both firearms and wildlife. Through our programs, young people learn proper handling, firearm capabilities of all types, situational awareness, along with the values of conservation and ethical hunting. We also actively support the work of the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources by promoting responsible deer management, habitat stewardship, and compliance with state regulations. Our efforts help reinforce safe hunting practices and help balance wildlife populations across the county. The new state law allowing the use of rifles represents a positive and necessary change for hunters and wildlife management. Updating this 1940s law aligns with modern hunting practices, supports effective and ethical harvesting, and provides consistency with state-level oversight and safety standards. Data from areas that have transitioned to rifle use, such as Wisconsin, has shown that hunting accidents decline where rifles are permitted, reinforcing that education, responsible firearm use, and modern equipment contribute to safer outcomes. We recognize that change can be difficult. This change is long overdue and reflects the evolution of safe hunting practices and modern-day firearms. We believe a slug-only ordinance will unintentionally impact law-abiding citizens, restrict youth education and mentoring opportunities, and add complexity to deer hunting rules and regulation. Additionally, a slug-only ordinance should not become an enforcement responsibility for county law enforcement. Local resources are best focused on public safety priorities and enforcement of existing state laws, rather than creating additional regulatory burdens that may be difficult to interpret, apply consistently, and enforce in the field. As a result of the new statewide rifle use, our club stands ready to educate local hunters of all ages to prioritize safety and responsible firearm operation in this upcoming hunting season. We respectfully ask the board not to pass a slug-only deer hunting ordinance in Meeker County. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Nate.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nate.
Stike.
Tim Stike.
Thank you, board members, for giving me the opportunity to express my viewpoints. My name is Tim Stike. I live in Collinwood Township. I would like to, I support the new rifle, opportunity to shoot with a rifle for deer hunting. I trust the Minnesota DNR, and I trust the gun training, firearm safety programs. And I believe, hats off, we should give a big hats off to those guys that take the time and offer that training. Muzzle loader seasons, in my viewpoint, muzzle loaders today with the accuracy and the modernized, how these weapons, modern muzzle loaders are, they're just as same as a rifle. And we have 3 weeks of muzzle loading season in Minnesota here. And I'd like to compare it to that. For me, it's gonna encourage me to hunt at home here in Meeker County. And I think we do have to control the population more. The deer population, in my mind, is way too much. I get upset when I see these road kills and the property damage that's done to vehicles. I think, let those hunters stay home with a rifle, let them take care of it the correct way. So I would cautiously like to encourage the board to try this with a wait-and-see attitude and communicate that clearly like you did with this invitation for the hearing, and expressing those concerns for safety and allow it to happen. Trust our DNR and our safety programs that we have for the training. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is a guess, now I can't read the last name, but Joey Raspier? W-R. See, I must have got it right, Joey.
Thank you, Joey Rasper.
Yep.
My name's Joey Rasper. I live in Eden Valley, Minnesota, and I'm for the rifle season. Basically, it comes down to safety, and as long as what you're doing, what you went through when you're training, like your firearm safety certificate, you gotta know where you're aiming. And if you're aiming in the wrong spot, you shouldn't be shooting there. So this kind of comes to that, and it's going to be a little more accurate with a rifle versus shotgun. So you should be able to shoot deer a little bit further away, but as long as you're keeping safety in mind, should be good, and I don't see why we'd have any problems. So Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joey.
Thank you.
Kyle Green?
My name is Kyle Green, and I live in Grove City, and I am a supporter of straight wall cartridges. I grew up hunting deer in the 90s, where our options were pretty much 20 gauge or 12 gauge, and those cartridges have a recoil force that generates 40 to 60 foot-pounds of energy, which is on the low end of an elephant gun, like a 458 Win Mag or 404 Jeffrey. Let's be honest, the youth today aren't as tough as we all are. And straight wall cartridges is something I haven't heard anybody talk about yet. They shoot a lighter bullet with about the same velocity as a shotgun slug. Gives a flatter trajectory, so it is safer. I believe that in the 90s, a lot of people were lobbing bullets, and you're almost starting to join an artillery force. And I myself have actually duck several times while I was hunting in the past from bullets, both of slug and of centerfire rifles. There doesn't seem to sound like a difference in impact, but we have the technology now that we can generate, or we can determine the distance to a target easier with the rangefinders we have now. And I think if we're all being honest, 200 to 300 yards is pretty much sufficient. But if we were to if Meeker County was to go to bottleneck cartridges, there would be nothing wrong with me taking something like a 300 Win Mag and custom building a stock that was a pistol grip. And now I have a 22, 28-inch barrel pistol because there's no legal limit on a pistol length. So I could just simply take a bottleneck cartridge, convert it to a pistol, and hey, I'm deer hunting with a bottleneck cartridge. Straight wall cartridges don't have the recoil force, and therefore they're still staying within the same distance as shotgun slugs, but they're also a lighter bullet. And I don't want anybody here or anybody out there to get hit by a bullet, but we're looking at 35, 40 caliber projectiles, but when you get to 20 gauge and 12 gauge, you're now looking at 62 to 75 caliber projectiles. And I know two people personally in Meeker County that have both been shot by 12 gauge slugs, and I'm certain that the board knows at least one of them. So I'm a proponent for straight wall cartridges. I'm not a proponent for bottleneck cartridges in Meeker County because there are city limits well within a lot of hunting land in this county, and bullets can go into county city limits where people could be injured. But outside of that, I think we should focus on straight wall cartridges for Meeker County as a potential alternative to the provision or the.
Thank you. That's 3 minutes.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Derek Timon.
Say it again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There he is.
Good evening. Derek Tiemann. I live in Kingston Township, and I've been deer hunting a long time out here in Meeker County. And I used to go up north in the rifle zone, but I don't do that anymore because there aren't any deer up there compared to there used to be. Anyway, I was going back. The history of the real reason why the shotgun zone was put in place had absolutely nothing to do with safety. It had to do with harvest numbers. And they said, the deer population is way too low. So how can we get the numbers up? And they said, we can do that by limiting harvest. Well, how do we do that? They literally said, let's take away the rifles so people can't shoot at 250 yards. They can only shoot at 50 yards. So that's what they did. Safety was not the reason for installing it in the first place. So I think when you're considering what your decision is going to be, that should be in the back of your mind. It wasn't, you're not making something, you're not undoing a safety measure. Second of all, I know we've heard a lot about, well, cars in the background, or if we're taking 400-yard shots. We shouldn't have we as people, I'm talking to all of us out here, we shouldn't need a government regulation to make us safe, right? Right, guys? We need to, we take that responsibility, we all should take safety seriously. And I don't need a government, I don't care what gun is in my hand, you better treat it the same. If there's a car or something in the background, you should not be taking a shot no matter what's in your hand. Wisconsin got rid of the shotgun zone in 2013, and they've had no issues. And so, safety is not performed by government regulations, it's performed by we the people. So I want that responsibility back essentially. So I don't think that, I think allowing the shotgun zone to expire and go away will be fine. But then the challenge is, I want all of us people just to remember that the safety is on us, as it should be. We shouldn't be more reckless because we're carrying a shotgun. I think we should be, the safety, we shouldn't be taking any careless or shooting uphill or doing any reckless shooting, and we say, oh, we can do it now because we have a shotgun in our hand. No. And I think most hunters would, obviously all hunters would agree with that, and I think most are totally fine with that. Another side note, I mean, my kids, I want to get my kids into hunting, and I do. But it's really, a 12-gauge shotgun, kids can't shoot really with a slug. It's just too much. So that's just another side benefit. But the main reason is it was put in place to restrict harvest. It wasn't put in place for safety. Safety is performed by we the people. And I think we should have that responsibility given back to us. And I think everyone would be totally fine with assuming that and be up to the task of only taking safe, ethical shots and not being reckless at all with a firearm in our hands. So I would ask you that you let the shotgun zone end. And I don't think Wisconsin hasn't had any issues either when they let theirs go. So I think we can do that too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Travis?
Scott's chalk.
That's it, thank you. That's what I was gonna say. Just was on the tip of my tongue.
All good, it's hard to say. It's, Travis Scott's Chalk, live in Kingston. I've grew up in this area, graduated in Litchfield, and kind of traveled around the country a little bit, lived in 5 states, including Minnesota, South Dakota, Montana, Wyoming, and Wisconsin. Wisconsin right when they were doing their change as well. Moved back in 2019. Couple points I have to say. I would be more for the slug-only thing if something like the Savage 220 didn't exist, but that kind of makes the rifle argument a little bit more mute because that gun commonly is taking out deer several hundred yards. You have a scope to use it, so we already allow it. It's already a gun that's hard to find ammo for, but we do allow it that's designed kind of almost for just this state. I am for the rifle, just so to make that clear. I am for the rifle from the states I've been. You own the bullet until it stops moving, and depending on when it stops moving in, you own that issue too. So if you're randomly firing, if you kill somebody, that doesn't stop just because it was a hunting accident. Trying to find some of the ammo when I came back in 2019, thought I'd deer hunt with my kids. I've got some kids that can deer hunt. I had 5 bullets because I couldn't, that's what I had left from when I left Minnesota, and I couldn't find any 12-gauge ammo at the time. And now I have 4 kids, 3 of them are girls. I almost cannot find ammo for a 410 shotgun for them to shoot, and to find a small enough gun for my little 70-pound girl and 100-pound girl who is a wrestler. And she can't shoot a 20-gauge. She has to shoot a 410. So it's very hard to find guns for those little girls to hunt, but they do enjoy hunting. If we do either side of the argument, I ask, how are we going to reevaluate this? If we do go with a rifle, or if we go stick with a shotgun, what is the process to reevaluate this? If it's the safety concerns or the harvest concerns, what is the reevaluation period? So we have facts coming down further down the road. The false sense of security with the slug. Yeah, it doesn't, we're all thinking about the smooth bores that only you're shooting at 50 yards, and if you're a really good shot, you might hit 75 or 100 yards. But how many have heard of the term lobbing lead? You're not really aiming once you get past a certain point. You're just kind of praying and hoping that you're going to hit that deer that's running by you because it's probably not walking by you at that point. So lobbing lead.
And lastly, I just want to close. Thank you for everybody for listening, the board, everybody behind us. We're able to talk in opposing points and have great points. Very much appreciated, and it's great to live in this county, so thank you.
Thank you.
Travis. Thank you.
Larry Newhouse.
Larry Newhouse Corvuso. I support rifles because they're safer. And one reason I really think they're safer, when the DNR is asked to call deer down in a metro and them parks got too many deer, they use rifles. They use scope rifles. They're safer, that they kill more humane, less wounded deer. That's about all I got to say. One more thing, if somebody would be so careless to shoot a deer rifle up in the air next to a slug gun, when they fall, the same speed, a 500 grain slug will fall the same speed as a 150 grain .30-06. There's no reason not to go with rifle. Thank you.
Thank
Larry.
you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Larry.
Larry.
Last of all, but not least, we have David Thomas.
I'm David Thomas. I live in Litchfield. I'm retired here in '95. I live out on the DNR section in the northeast corner here. I got deer up there, so many that they've ruined my 40 trees I've already planted in. Back to that, I'm not worried about that. You need to identify the caliber and call it a straight wall rifle, where you don't have a 300 Magnum or a high-powered 30-06 or a 270 or one that travels at 3,000 feet per second. Do a straight wall. 45s, 4570s, 350 Remington. They were all developed for close-range deer hunting without a lot of safety factors, because they don't travel more than 100 yards before they're dead. Shotguns travel 100 yards or more. So look at it from both angles. You know, you got your high-powered rifle that travels a lot of distance. Your straight wall shells, they don't travel as far. They're more like a shotgun, but yet they're still a rifle. Still, they give the opportunity to hunt with a scope. So that's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, that concludes the participants I have, I guess, so.
Madam Chair, at that point, so I do want to also note that we did receive 18 written comments. If you would like, I could read all of those, or they are included in the written material that was provided to the board. Of those, 12 indicated they were pro-rifle, 6 indicated that they were pro-shotgun. I believe some of them overlap with some of the comments you heard today. Some people provided written, but then also came and spoke, so. Otherwise, I would recommend a motion to close the public hearing.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion by Commissioner Schmidt.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, what are the wishes? Do we want to continue with this evening? We can go ahead with the vote, or do we want to wait?
Well, Commissioner Olberg, I think we have been given a variety of very good information. I'm
Make sure you're
Sorry.
setting up, just so everybody over.
And I just want to say, no matter what we decide here in a few minutes, I just want to say thank you to everybody. I've learned some things tonight from some of your comments and some of the things that you brought forward. And I know this is an issue that's important to you, or we wouldn't have a room full of folks and a room full over there. So just thank you for your comments and trying to educate us on something that we're going to have to make a decision on.
So we have some recommended motions in our packet if we want to proceed this evening. If not, we'll close the regular meeting. correct, Meeker?
So you have three recommended motions in front of you. One would be to adopt the draft ordinance. One would be to state that the board is gonna take no action, and that thereby allowing the use of rifles for deer hunting. Or the third is to give yourself some time to think about this. You can table this to a future meeting. I would ask that you identify a date for that so that we can know which one to put it on the agenda for.
Well, personally, I'm ready tonight, but it'll be up to Steve.
Well, I'll make some comments here. I've been following this, I kinda knew this was coming for probably 2 years. I've been hearing about it through the legislature and following it. And I definitely knew 6 months ago that we were, or 8 months ago, towards the end of last session, that this was gonna be in, I didn't know it was gonna be in front of us, but I knew it was coming. And we're gonna have debate on it. I think, you know, the one thing I talked to, DNR came in at Farm Fest last summer into the corn growers tent, and we had the deputy commissioner of DNR and probably 6 other high-ranking officials in the DNR in that group, and I brought up this topic at that time, and the DNR had definitely done their homework, and they were not opposed to rifle at all. I didn't know what type of answer I would get for them, so I've been following this for a long time. I think we've been trying to turn shotguns into rifles for quite a few years already, which presents that's a whole different topic for a whole nother day, but it does make our decision, it makes my decision tonight a little bit easier. I think we have 3.5 states across the country that have a slug zone. I think the one point that was brought up that I've thought of several times over the last few months, no matter what I have in my hand, whether I have my 45 or a 22 rifle or a Remington 870 shotgun with a rifled slug barrel, I have to practice gun safety. I gotta know my target, I gotta know all the basic things I was taught a lot of years ago. And, that's on us. And the data that we've gotten through the sheriff and other agencies that we've requested data from does not indicate that safety changes much whatsoever with the type of zone that you're hunting in or type of weapon you're using. Most injury comes from accidental discharge. So me personally, I don't want to put ourselves in between the state, the DNR, and Meeker County jumping in the middle of something here that we are going to have to readdress. I think we have to address this every year if we adopt slug. That's not accurate?
That's not accurate.
Okay.
I stand corrected on that, but I'm for rifle. I think we just stay out of this one.
Jerry?
So,
this has been a really interesting meeting. I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying this. I am a person who is very pro Second Amendment, but I do not own a gun. And so I don't have any dogs in this fight. And I just really appreciated the tone and your participation and your willingness to come here tonight to express your opinions and your strong-held beliefs. And I very, very much appreciate that. And it's a beautiful thing to live in Meeker County because of the citizens that we have here. And so for me, again, it just becomes a situation where, how often is it that the government actually gives more rights and more discretion to its citizens? Not very often. And so I really appreciate that, and I don't intend to want to scale that back.
Thank you. Paul?
I am a gun owner. I own handguns, shotguns, and rifles, and various ones. Something that has stuck in my mind all the way through this is 99.98% of gun owners are responsible. They know how to take care of their gun. They know what they're doing. And sometimes that very small fraction of folks end up causing others not to have choice. In this particular case, after a lot of thought, and I appreciate every single person that's contacted me over the past couple of months about this, because I have had significant contacts. But I am going to support the rifle and support the option of Meeker County doing nothing and let the state and DNR manage this. That is my position.
Thank you, Paul.
I would concur with everything that has been said here, and I greatly appreciate everyone's input. Different people have mentioned they like facts. I like facts. I like to hear what you have that is factual. Yes, can things be altered? Of course. One thing that was said that I also greatly appreciated is safety is not performed by the government. Safety and regulations, but safety is performed by the person holding the gun. And whoever is holding that gun is responsible for safety. And so I am also for leaving things the way that I trust the DNR. They have done their job. They have done their homework. I trust that all but 3.5 states have implemented this, and we're not seeing negativity from that. And so, with all that being said, are you looking for a motion?
Sure.
I move to take no action on imposing firearm limitations, thereby allowing the use of rifles for deer hunting in Meeker County.
We have a motion by Cheryl. Is there a second?
I'll second that, Madam Chair.
Any more discussion? I'm just gonna say, I'm in favor of the rifle. Unlike Darren, I'm not gonna tell you how many guns I own, because in the interest of my safety, I try not to disclose that.
I have no idea how many guns I own. They're
I have really good neighbors who have lots of guns, so I'm not too worried.
I was, however, raised in a family of hunters, and I think this is just fine. And one thing that did stick with me is we are not, it is up to the DNR to control the deer population, not Meeker County. So with that, any more discussion? All in favor of taking no action?
Is
Right.
it a resolution or no?
Is it? No.
Okay.
Just a motion.
They're always trying to catch me doing
I
something.
didn't know. I was
All in-
wrong twice.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for.
Greatly
coming. Yes,
appreciate it.
appreciate it.
I think we're adjourned.
I guess we are.
Good.
Get it out of the way.
Is there any other business to come before us, Madam?
Is there any other business to come before?
I didn't mean to, but I did tell Corey, I think we're